Welcome to Morning with Madi. In this episode, I am joined by DeVaughn, my new friend, and Tranquil Savage. Hey DeVaughn, how are you?
How's it going?
Thanks for coming on the show today and spending time with me on your Saturday. How's it going?
Everything is great. Thank you for having me here on the show. Hope your listeners enjoy.
I'm very excited, and I'm sure they will. So I wanted to talk about your background. Just expand, give us a little bit about yourself, and so we can understand who you are, and just generally your background.
Well, I was born in Brooklyn. I moved around a lot. I lived in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, Charlotte, North Carolina, and West Scranton, Pennsylvania. I went to high school there in West Scranton, and then I went to college at University of New Hampshire, and I played football there, and I got a degree in biochemistry, and now I am living life, enjoying life, and trying to find out more about myself, and also I want to be the best I could be so that I can be the best for others. So I'm trying to learn new things to implement in my lifestyle and that I could share with others, but also use to help make life more enjoyable.
Mm-hmm. On that note, if you want to be the best you can be to be the best for others, what does that look like for you?
Right now, it looks like working on my communication skills, having more empathy, I think being a good teammate and a good leader where I can be, and a great family member, great friend, and then just a good citizen, I guess, for strangers and people I don't know or haven't met yet, but extending that hand of friendship to people.
I like that quite a bit, especially what you just said, like the strangers.
I think that's important because sometimes we stick with people who we know, but there's a whole bunch of life out there. There's a whole bunch of people out there that you can meet, and not necessarily you don't have to become friends, but you can be kind to people and share stories or share experiences with people you just never met before, don't know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I completely agree. I've made so many friends by just giving someone a compliment in like an Ocean State job lot, which is like equivalent to like a little, I don't know, like, do you know Ocean State job lot?
No, is it like
okay. It's like a Kmart, maybe? Like a Kmart type thing?
Kmart, yeah.
Yeah. So as you were saying, like extending kindness to strangers, I became close friends with someone just by like saying, "Oh, I like your shoes." And we started talking about shoes, and from there we became friends.
Yeah, one of my favorite is like if I'm in the mall or walking somewhere or maybe on a hike, somebody has like an anime shirt on. I'm like, "Oh, great shirt." They're like, "Oh, thank you."
Yeah, there's a lot of people who like anime that no one would know.
Yeah, I'm one of them.
I don't personally watch it, but I know there's like a community of people who do.
There's.
Yeah. Is it like can you go off like a whole conversation with that person if you saw like a shirt and it's like a certain show that you've seen?
Yes, usually a lot of the times we're just in passing, but somebody could say, "Hey, did you see the last episode?" or "Did you read the last chapter?" and we could delve into a long conversation about whatever, or other shows, other mangas. So
yeah, you gotta put me onto some of those shows. Let me know.
Definitely.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Gotcha. I'm curious, what does your ideal day look like?
My ideal day would be wake up, train, eat, and then if I have work, go to work. If no work, then kind of have some free time to do whatever. Maybe watch a show, a movie, go on a hike. I don't know, go somewhere to eat, cook something. So I have free time. And then later on in the day, depending on if it's a work day or a weekend, either read and write, and then again, some more free time.
I like that. I also like to write too, like at the end of the day. If I have the time and if I'm regulated enough in my, like, I'm usually go, go, go. If I have the time to have like a hot cup of tea and write in my journal, I'm like, yes, I've made it today.
Right.
I'm doing that thing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. A lot of things come up sometimes, but that would be my perfect day.
Got it. I like that. That's great. And lots of hikes. Are there good hills around where you are in Pennsylvania?
There's the Delaware Water Gap, but there's some other state parks around here. I know in New Hampshire there's the White Mountains, which is nice. Yeah. I've only hiked that one time. Mount Washington it was. I want to go back. But yeah, I definitely would love to go up there because of the foliage right now. It's beautiful. And just hikes in general are beautiful that all the leaves are changing. Got that fall feel.
Definitely. And to anyone who's wondering, DeVaughn has episode 4 of his podcast, and he talks about the importance of being a tree, or that, like, how trees are symbolic to our lives, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So speaking of foliage and leaves falling, he goes into that in his episode.
Yes. I think one of the things that I found, or I made the analogy of, was from a quote. It was talking about how in a storm you see all the branches moving around, but the trunk stays steady. And I think that that's symbolic to, our lives, when sometimes, there's a lot of adversity, or, just a lot going on. Sometimes we're maybe overwhelmed with some things. If we, stick to what we know, stick to what we've been doing, or have a plan to kind of get out of that, you can stay sturdy. And also, you could look back on the times that you've experienced something and see, okay, I was able to get through that. I could do this, or I could, take on whatever's coming up next.
Definitely. And you also mentioned, like, how trees let go so easily so they can return back to center.
Yeah.
So as the leaves start falling, I'm going to think about that.
One of my English teachers in high school said that. He was like, I love the school year. You could look outside the window and see all the leaves change. First, the leaves start to fall. You start anew in the winter, and they start growing back in the spring, a new color, vibrant. So this is that time to the fall season to, let go of what's not serving you and kind of grow anew.
I listened to that episode right when I was moving, and it helped me a lot, because it's like, okay, I'm like letting go of my attachments to this place. Like, I was living in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and it just wasn't working like out the best wise, like in terms like financially too. And so like letting go of the expectations of what I had for myself living in that space, and like letting go, and then like welcoming new energy into my new place. And it's been wonderful. It's been great.
I'm glad you were able to find resonate with that.
I was. So thank you.
Of course.
I wanted to talk a little bit about your 7 pillars of Savage Tranquility. So there's quite a few, which are
There's a
balance.
lot.
Yeah, there is. So I'm not sure we can do like all of them, but I can list them out and then we can talk about. They all kind of interrelated, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. But we have balance, we have awareness, adaptability, preparation, versatility, service, and gratitude. Um, and I love all of these, and I'd love to know how you picked these ones as your pillars. And then you can expand upon any ones that, you resonate with particularly.
I would say, well, sometimes I just make these analogies to certain things while I'm just observing life or, in my thoughts or whatever. But so I can't really pick out what exactly made me choose those. But definitely the first couple, balance, adaptability, and versatility, preparation too. I think it just fits with, my message of Savage Tranquility. And Savage Tranquility is about balance. And I think you find your balance, but there are things that, outside may upset that balance. And it's kind of goes back to the tree situation where you have that the trunk of the tree doesn't move. That's essentially your balance. And other things could happen. It might sway your tree a little bit, but you'll never fall over. You find your balance in a way. And then awareness. You have to be aware of that feeling of imbalance, if you will. Sometimes you might be going through something and not even know how it's affecting your life. Like for me, if I don't, I like to train to, go feel my emotions or, go through my thoughts and stuff like that. So if I don't do that for a while, I kind of like feel a little off, if you will. And that to me is an imbalance, but that might be different for somebody else. Maybe maybe they like to write and they haven't written in a long time. They haven't expressed themselves. Maybe people like to, I don't know, play video games. And when they don't do that, it's kind of, they're off balance. You're not in their normal state of being, if you will. And finding that balance or finding what your normal balance is important. And then being aware of what things throw you off that balance is also important.
Definitely. You gave the analogy of tires in a car and what you can do, like if your tires are wearing out and you might slip or you might veer off track, and then how to correct your course of action if you do slip and prepare for it to not happen again.
Yeah.
So I like
think
that.
preparation. Yeah. Like when you go through things, like sometimes things are cyclical. So maybe you get off track a little bit or you're feeling some imbalance and you realize, oh, okay, maybe the first time it's playing video games the first time you haven't been playing in a while or you haven't written in a while to express yourself, journal to yourself or something. And you realize, okay, that was the problem. So you start doing it again. But then, life happens and you get away from that. Then you realize again, oh, I haven't been doing this. So I come back to that. And then now you're aware, oh, I need to keep doing this because that's what keeps me balanced.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I wanted to also return back to Savage Tranquility. So you have the pillars, but I forgot to ask you, can you explain Savage Tranquility for us?
Essentially it means balance. Like, as I observe or as I have observed life, I notice like a lot of contradictions and things, but like nothing is always the same. But I didn't like that negative connotation of contradiction. So I was like, okay, it's balance because, certain things happen and certain things need to happen for other things to happen. And I just like I like the balance of it. The quote that I have on some of my pages is "Tranquilize the mind and make savage the body," and I
Mm-hmm.
think that those two words, tranquility and savage, don't really mix. They're essentially contradictions, but they're a balance that you need. That I
Mm-hmm.
believe you need. But anybody else could have whatever balance they uh, resonate with.
Yeah. And I think you mentioned too, like it's balance, but Savage Tranquility, from what I understood, is it's like a way of being. It's your best self, but it's also yourself currently. It's a journey, and it's also a destination
That's
at the
correct.
same time.
Right. And uh, I wanted to, like, I'm calling it savage tranquility, but it could be anything for anybody. Everybody has
Mm-hmm.
their own journey. Everybody has their own destination, their own goals. So uh, while I'm on my journey, I'd like to talk about some of the things that I do that helps my journey and keeps me balanced. And maybe somebody could pull from that and say, oh, okay, let me try that and see if it helps me balance or helps me on my journey, my savage tranquility, or get me to my destiny. So, I mean, destination, but
Mm-hmm.
that's, it's a lot. Um, it's a journey, a destination, and it's balance within that journey and destination.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then
Definitely.
someone on that journey is called a tranquil savage, or at least what I call them. But someone
Yeah.
could name whoever they want to be.
Yeah, no, for anyone when you do check out DeVaughn's podcast, he quickly says like to the listeners like, "Hello, friends and family," or should I say, tranquil savages, and that made me
Yeah,
laugh so much. Yeah, so I can be a tranquil savage because I have my own journey and destination,
right,
and my own idea of what balance looks like for my own life.
right.
And I strongly encourage everyone to listen to DeVaughn's podcast because it definitely helped me feel grounded and in touch with myself. And yeah, like you have a beautiful mindset, and I
Thank you.
think
I
everyone should be
appreciate
able
that.
to hear it.
Thank you.
Definitely. Yeah. So back to like the preparation part. So the pillars of Savage Tranquility. I one part that stood out to me is that you actually have times where you think about the worst case scenario and you use
Yeah.
this to your advantage. Can you go into that a little more?
I think it just helps for if those things happen, you're better grounded and better prepared, for lack of a better term, to handle those situations. Like maybe at work, something could go wrong, but you kind of already anticipate it, so you know how to maneuver and not have to take that time to be like, oh man, what do I do? What do I do? But you already have like a step-by-step process that you could test out, and things may change along the way, but you have
Mm-hmm.
something that you could do to take action right away instead of, um, you know, taking what might be precious time to uh, try and take care of whatever situation you're in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Definitely. And when I listened to your part about preparation when you were speaking, it resonated with me. And it was like during my nighttime routine. And usually my nighttime routine sets me up for a better day the next day.
Right.
So, because I am not a morning person and I'm like a frantic little person, just like, I don't know, just in the morning, it's just everything is out the door type thing. And so I remember being like, okay, how can I prepare myself for success tomorrow? And I was like, all right, I'm going to be deliberate about putting like my outfit out. I'm going to like
Yeah.
pack my lunch and all the simple little things that add up and make your day a little smoother. It helps out.
Yeah. I'm glad
Yeah,
that helped you.
for sure. Um, so what I have also is awareness when balance is disrupted. So you have some strategies like deep breathing to get you back to center. What else do you like to do if you're a little dysregulated or your balance is disrupted?
Sometimes, me personally, I get a little quiet and I start thinking about like, how I can go about handling the situation. Again, like hopefully I have prepared. You can't prepare for everything, but hopefully I have some type of preparation for whatever occurs. But
Mm-hmm.
if that does happen, just taking some time, slowing down, and just assessing what's going on that's making you imbalanced.
It's very rational. I need to do that more often. I love that. That's great. I'm super excited to talk about this one. You mentioned that you have a gratitude walk.
Yeah.
And I want to know more about that because I practice gratitude like in my gratitude journal, and I try to remind myself to be grateful every day, but I've never had a gratitude walk.
Yeah. I'm lucky in the sense that at my job, the parking lot is like 15 minutes away from the building. So every morning, that's usually when I do my gratitude walk. But on weekends, or on a day I don't have work or something, I may go for a walk and just kind of do it then. But it's I'm trying to think of when. I know I started it when I started working, but I don't know where I may have got it from a podcast or maybe an article somewhere. But I think it's definitely a habit that's essential to my lifestyle. So I get to take gratitude with my family, my friends who I work with, people who's helped me along my journey, my Savage Tranquility, and situations that I'm grateful for, like, I don't know, having a car or something, small things, being able to have health, I don't know, being able to see small. If I could find anything that I'm grateful for, I'll say it, and it changes on each walk, but it's definitely a practice that challenges you to find the gratitude in things. And I noticed that when you have gratitude for certain things or just anything in general, it kind of helps you brighten up your day a little bit. And so I do that usually in the morning, and I can kind of ride that feeling through the rest of the day.
Got it. I really do like that. For me, I remember you were talking about, forgive me if I don't say it correctly, but when you have an attitude of gratitude, you're able to accept the things that are within your orbit. And you can still want things that aren't in your orbit, but you'll be better prepared to receive them with an attitude of gratitude.
Yeah.
So.
I think that, gratitude opens up a lot of things. Like a lot of times, people may want what they don't have, but if they look at the things that they do have, they'll probably feel better about certain things. Like, I could want, I don't know, a new car or a new apartment or something, like, I don't know. You can want a lot of things, but there's a lot of things that you do have already, and you could appreciate those. And that helps you receive the other things that you might want.
Definitely. And it's so good because I think social media, like, I find that I'm vulnerable to feeling like influenced, you know what I mean? So like your explore page is what you like and what you aspire to be. And so for a long time, my explore page was like the most aesthetic home, and like everything is white and cream and pretty. And quite frankly, that's like not realistic. And so I've challenged myself to find gratitude when things aren't symmetrical and things aren't always perfect in my eyes, and just be more grateful for my safety and like the fact that I have a really cozy home and like a loving family and friends and a safe environment. And like there's so many things, like I have great working relationships, and it's just a lot. There's like so much to be grateful for.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite. Like, I know one of the things I'm certainly grateful for is the working relationships that I have. Like the people that I work with, my close team members. They're not just coworkers; they're friends. And to be able to have that, I don't know how many people have that experience or opportunity to have friends at work, or loving family members or just friends in general. Like the relationships that you have, and the small things that you may overlook sometimes are something to be appreciative of.
Definitely. Yesterday, my friend Jacob, and actually my friend Jacob is like largely responsible for pushing me to actually take the plunge and like do this podcast.
That's
And he
great.
helped me with like the design and like the logo and just like fleshing out it. So I wanted to shout out Jacob. Thank you.
Thank you, Jacob.
But Jacob, thank you, Jacob. I have like such great people in my life, and Jacob was one of them. Along with his girlfriend Adri, who I live with too, who's my roommate. So shout out to Adri as well, because I'm grateful for her too. But Jacob brought me a cup of coffee, like a whole thing of coffee yesterday, like from like this little coffee shop called B Next down the road.
Okay.
And it was so nice. Like I hadn't asked for any coffee, and I actually like caught a ride to work with him, and then he's like, "Oh, here's coffee for you." And it was so thoughtful, and it made my entire day go so well afterwards, because it was such a genuine, small like gesture that meant everything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can resonate with that.
for sure.
Well, I wanted to ask you what made you start this podcast aside from Jacob helping you out?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I have wanted to do a podcast for years, like the longest time. And I feel most connected to myself engaging in great conversation with others. And I see a lot of the media I consume is podcasts. So when I'm going to bed and I can't, if I have nervous energy or I want to calm down, I actually listen to podcasts, and I try to study the way people interact with each other. And I can find value in what they're saying, but it's art at the end of the day for me. Is the way I look at it is conversations can be like new neural activity forming for people. It could be like finding new discoveries, finding new insights, learning someone else's perspective. And that's magic to me. And I think a lot of my conversations I've had with incredible people in my life have been, I think to myself, I want to press record, and I want to be able to hear this conversation again, because it was just a great experience that I was completely engaged in. So that's why. I mean, I'm a curious person too. So I love to ask questions, and I love to find out more about people as well.
That's great. I like that.
Yeah. What about you? What made you start Savage Tranquility?
I think at the end of the day, I just wanted to help people. I just thought that maybe if I could provide a small tidbit of something that could help somebody along their journey, that that's worth it. And even just provide, like, maybe some things won't work, but maybe that just one thing, they'll be like, oh, I could use that and try that out, and it helps them along their way. What I would like to do is start conversations like this. I think, like you said, I do listen to podcasts often, and a lot of the podcasts I listen to personally usually have like people who are either famous in their field, whether it be athletes or musicians or big people in science or something like that. But I think that everybody else needs to tell their story too. Like, everybody can learn from somebody. Just like you said, in conversations, you could gain experience through other people. You could live vicariously through them. They tell their stories. They tell what they've learned. And I think that fits. So eventually I want to move into something like that. But that's why I started.
I love that. And I wanted to let you know, too, that I have found a lot of insight from your recordings and your overall.
That. Thank you.
Your vision for Savage Tranquility is beautiful and very impactful.
Thank you.
Yeah. On to the gratitude part. We were talking about what we were grateful for, I mean, at least for me. I wanted to hear a little bit more for you. And there is this this thing that I found on, I think it was Instagram. It's called, in Pinterest, it's called Glimmers. And there are tiny moments of awe. And I can actually pull up the picture that can like guide our conversation a little bit.
Sure.
So Glimmers are the opposite of triggers. They are tiny moments of awe. They spark joy and inner calm. They're micro moments causing tiny mood shifts. They send cues of safety to our nervous system, feelings of ease and contentment. It helps us increase our sense of well-being. So my understanding of a glimmer is when you see something beautiful or you experience something like in your day-to-day life, and it makes you pause and be like, wow, that was wonderful. So an example was like the coffee yesterday. And then driving to work and seeing the leaves change is another one. And like seeing a leaf fall. Those are some glimmers of my past week. One other is my nephew coming over and just we're cackling on the couch about something silly. Those moments this past week have made me feel a stronger sense of well-being.
Glimmers from me. Well, earlier this week, I watched some Netflix with my grandfather, and we're watching this show, Peaky Blinders. But we're gonna watch the whole series and everything like that. But sharing time with him is nice. We talk about it and trying to figure out what's gonna happen next, and having that relationship with my grandpa is really nice. So that's a glimmer for me. Another glimmer would be I have two cats, and one of them is newer. And for the first time, I caught them laying next to each other, like actually sleeping together without the other one kind of like pushing her away. So that was cute. Other than that, let's see. Another small glimmer would be I made some chicken sandwiches yesterday, and it was my first time using that recipe, and it came out really nice. So I was happy that came out the way it did.
Like a Popeye's chicken or like a chicken salad?
Oh, no, I made it was a chicken sandwich, like a chicken fillet, chicken breast, and then used a new recipe, and it came out pretty good.
Oh, nice. That's great.
So
those are some
my
good
three.
glimmers. Yeah.
Thanks.
I love that. Spending time with your grandfather sounds great too.
Yeah.
And would you recommend Peaky Blinders as a show or no?
It depends on what people like, but I definitely like it so far. So.
I'll have to look into it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing those. That I get a lot of joy just hearing you talk about how you've experienced joy recently. I have on my list that I want to talk about the bamboo tree and like more about your fourth episode on like the trees. But I loved your analogy of a bamboo tree kind of being like the goals we decide to, pursue. And a lot of our goals don't give immediate, gratification, or they don't come about right away. I think it was the bamboo tree. The way you told the story was perfect. So I would actually love to hear you talk about it as opposed to me explaining it.
Okay. So I read this story somewhere. I'm not sure how true it is, but basically they were saying when you are trying to grow a bamboo tree, there's 4 years where you have to, every day, you have to water it, nurture the seed, and you don't see anything. There's no sprout or anything like that. But on the 5th year, it starts to sprout a little bit, and then it grows like, 30 to 80 feet in a few days after that 5th year, though. But if you miss any day in those first 4 years, then that's not going to happen. The seed dies. So,
No, wow.
Again, I'm not sure how true that is, but the story resonated with me because it talks about how if you want to accomplish a goal, you have to work towards it and put the time in and the effort, and you may not see the results right away, but you are growing and you are being nurtured, and eventually you will see results. It might not be the results you want to see, but something's going to happen. There's going to be an outcome from the work that you put in and the effort that you put in. So at the end of the day, it's a story about patience and I would say dedication to what you want to accomplish.
And I absolutely love that because it's I have trouble with patience myself, and then I actually didn't know the part of the story where you have to water the seed every day or it dies. Like, that's nice.
Yeah.
It's consistency.
Right. It's consistency and persistence in a way because, I'm sure you can get frustrated after a couple of years of not seeing the results of whatever it is. So you may like stop working on it or something, and then you could have had the result on the 5th year, but, just because, you decided to, quit the working process, now you're not going to get that fruition.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Definitely. I can definitely use that analogy in my own life. Like in terms of grad school, while working full time, I've taken a class part time.
Mm-hmm.
And if I was to continue in, let's say, like this MBA program I'm interested in, it would be 16 classes, and it'd be like 2 classes per semester. And it would take a long time.
Right.
And so I'm debating like if I want to pursue that goal. But there's a lot of other things in my life, like where I want to be communication-wise and my skills and how I want to see myself grow professionally
Right.
and personally as well. Those are all very much like indicative of my bamboo tree.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's important you just said, talking about your goals professionally and personally, like your growth there. Sometimes, I've chosen a goal based on just the goal, not thinking about what it takes to get there sometimes. And that's really important. And you have to think about everything. And that kind of goes to the pillar of awareness and versatility, because while you're trying to accomplish whatever goal you may have, there's other things, there's all of life that you still have to live. So there's sacrifices, but there's also, consistency in the other things that you have going on.
Yeah, yeah. And likewise, when I pursue certain goals, I sometimes don't think about how long it's going to take to achieve those goals.
Yeah,
and accounting for life's actually going to happen. Like after the workday, I'm still going to have to make myself dinner. I'm probably going to have to go exercise and go do laundry and then do homework. And then how do I podcast? Like how do I stay creative in all of that? It's hard.
Yeah. It's very difficult. Life gets thrown at you, but take the time to, like we spoke about earlier, slow down and take a step back and just see things objectively and think, okay, I could adjust here. Adaptability is another pillar. Maybe you're on your journey and you're like, okay, this isn't working out for me. Let me try this but still make it to that end goal. So being able to have that awareness, adapt, and, versatility of different avenues you could take to the same destination.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I like that quite a bit, for sure. Your pillars, I think that they really relate to each other, and I'll definitely be referring to them in the future.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, on that note, whatever goals you have for yourself that are like the bamboo tree, I hope I have full confidence that you'll achieve those.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Hopefully I stay the course.
Well, actually, too, on that note, too, I've noticed your commitment to fitness, and you were very consistent you were doing the 5+3 challenge.
Yeah.
So what helps you prioritize your fitness and health, and how does this commitment to fitness benefit you positively?
That challenge specifically benefited me for service. What I just wanted was, I know life gets hectic sometimes, so I wanted an avenue for people to try and take a small amount of time, because it was only 8 minutes, as opposed to, maybe someone thinking, hey, I have to get to the gym, which they have to drive to the gym and, work out for a certain amount of time, 30 minutes or something, and then drive back home. Or, some people may feel like because of social media, they have to work out for a whole hour, but it's maybe a small amount of time, the 8 minutes. And so it was about service for that challenge. But me in general, um, there's actually a lot of motivations and drivers for that, but mostly it's just, um, I'll say health and longevity. And then, um, ironically, I like anime, and one of my favorite characters, he like works out and trains a lot, so I kind of mirror him. That's what it comes down to.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I like that. Who is that? What's his?
Goku from Dragon Ball Z.
Okay, okay, got
Yeah.
it.
So
Uh,
I think as a youth, I would watch that show and be like, oh, okay, that's what I have to do. So it stemmed from that, and then playing football, you have to train for football, and then it just continued, especially with health and wellness are my first priority, and then longevity is the second.
Definitely. And I'm sure like your football past at UNH too really helps you with discipline and your like regimen too as well for like fitness.
Yes, we were definitely very regimented there. I think I could pull from that and kind of know what I have to do and kind of set my mind. But again, life happens sometimes, so you could, for me, fall off the track and then you find ways to get back on. But certain things like the 5+3 challenge, that small amount of time I could do that. I could dedicate 8 minutes as opposed to 30 minutes or an hour or whatever.
Definitely. It's more sustainable over time too and realistic for fitness. So thank you.
Right. Of course.
Yeah. It did look challenging, I gotta say. I can't even do like
It was.
so I saw it on my feed. I was like, wow, I really should do that, but I can't even do like a proper like push-up form.
Oh yeah.
So, but
That's fine. There was I had a YouTube video of different like regressions or progressions you could do so that you could make it more accessible for yourself. Because
okay.
I was aware that some people may not be able to do a push up, or somebody may have a knee injury so can't squat all the way down. So you could use your couch or a chair, or maybe do a push up on the counter.
Yeah, definitely. Gotta look into that for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So curious, what are you excited for this year? I saw a post that you had talking about there's 3 more months left of the year. Like start working on your goals for next year. So for this to the end of the year and then generally the next year, what do you have for yourself?
I think definitely put more time into my podcast. Um, I've been away from that. I've been writing ideas and stuff like that, but there's been somewhat of a barrier and that I have to cross into recording again. This has definitely sparked that a little bit and created a little fire, so I really like that. But I have some training goals, some fitness goals, and then uh, you know making sure I enjoy the end of the year time, like uh, Thanksgiving and Christmas time and stuff like that, and kind of have a nice preparation for the beginning of next year. Kind of go in there with some momentum.
I like that very much, and I myself too am excited for Thanksgiving and Christmas for sure.
Yeah. How
And
about you? Do you have any goals for the year? For the
similar
rest
to
of this
you,
year, I should say.
similar to you, it's getting back into writing a little bit more, and the podcast really nourishing that. Did I hear you say like fitness as well, like staying active? I can't remember.
Oh yeah, some fitness, like some strength goals or whatever.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I would want to be more consistent with the gym. And my goal really is just to like go 3 times a week.
Okay.
And I usually just go on the stair climber and the treadmill and then
That's so
like the leg
hard.
machines. But like
Stair climber.
I don't venture out at all because I like stick to what I know, and I'm
Right.
obsessed with the stair climber. But like for me, like working on my upper body strength would be a goal because it's
Mm.
so boring to me. Like, because it's hard. It's so hard to do
Right.
it the right form, and so just pushing through that to the point where I can maybe see and feel results as well could be a small goal.
Nice. There you go.
But yeah, definitely the largest one for me would definitely still be writing and answering more like self-reflection prompts to kind of get to know myself better.
Yeah.
And really kind of getting to understand like what kind of content do I want to share with the world, and growing into myself that way because I'm inspired by it, and I want to be able to just kind of have more of a direction, and I'm doing that right now, but it's oftentimes like trial and error, and like what do I want my message to be, and it's
Right.
so.
I think you're doing a great job so far. So,
Oh, thank you. It means a lot.
of course.
Yeah. So I have a couple more questions for you, and these are like miscellaneous. I actually provided a list. I don't know if you can see it on the chat too. But I figured we could ask each other different questions, and that could be a fun way to engage. One question for you is, what do you love about yourself?
What do I love about myself? I would say, I think my resilience and ability to persist. And it kind of goes back to, having goals and, that bamboo tree. But sometimes you don't accomplish what you want right away. But in those failures, I've realized myself and reflected that I just keep going. And I like that about myself, that I'm not deterred from failure. If I want something, if I truly want it, I'll get it.
Definitely.
How
I
about
definitely
you?
want to work on those too. And I can tell your resilience just by the way you speak and
Thank you.
your mindset. What I love about myself, I love how curious I am. I think my curiosity, even though like I've grown up with a lot of fear and doubt in myself, I always tell myself like make your curiosity stronger than your fear. And so if there's someone I want to get to know, if there's someone I want to go talk to, like I'm gonna push myself to reach out. And so I think being so curious and having a little bit of courage has always benefited me greatly because it opens a lot of doors for me in terms of meeting wonderful people.
Nice. And
Yeah.
that same curiosity, like you were talking about earlier, helps you with communication too, because you get to learn people. You ask them questions, great questions, and they give you all these insights and experiences, and that's wonderful. You can tell
Thank
from the
you.
people on your podcast too.
I appreciate that. Yeah, and like how curiosity killed the cat, they say. I don't know
Lives.
about that. I'm always probably going to say curious. There's always so much to learn.
Yeah, there is
So,
so
yeah.
much.
Another question I have for you is in like the attitude of gratitude, what is a favorite memory of yours that you'd like to share?
One of my favorite memories was I vividly remember when I was either 1 or 2. I used to in Brooklyn. I used to walk with my grandma, and anytime I would fall because I was so small, I would cry. I either scrape my knee or something, and my grandma would say, "What are you crying for? Look what you did to the sidewalk!" And I'd like laugh while crying. I'd be like,
That's
"That's
really
my favorite
nice.
memory."
Yeah, I like that. That's really good. That's a really good perspective too, because I mean, you started laughing too, because sometimes
Yeah,
kids
I'd
just
laugh and
automatically start
cry.
crying.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it. That's great. As for one of my favorite memories, not as funny because I can't think of like I have a lot of funny moments. I cackle quite a bit with my siblings and my family, and my colleagues. But a moment where I felt a lot of joy was one time I was with my brother. We were on an Amtrak train, probably going from I think Lorton, Virginia to Florida. And we got up early and went to the breakfast car, and we sat out. And if you look outside the window, there was this beautiful hot pink sunrise over water. It was straight out of a movie.
That's
and
nice.
so whenever I think of some time that I felt such immense joy, it was then. It was just I was so overwhelmed by the beauty around me, and I was with someone that I loved. It was just great.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But one more question for you too.
Okay.
What brings you joy in a childlike way?
Brings me joy in a childlike way. I would say that's a tough one. I think I would say watching anime or watching cartoons. It's I don't know, you just release everything and just kind of get, I don't know, fully enthralled with whatever you're watching, at least for me. Either old cartoons or even new ones. And I find that I'm giddy trying to find out what happens next in the whatever it is that I'm watching.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think that for now.
That's important to
joy?
keep that. Whoa. Recently, in a childlike way, is Teletubbies.
Teletubbies?
I never watched them as a kid, and a few of my friends came over a couple months ago, and I think I saw something on TikTok. It was a Teletubby thing, and then I put it on YouTube, and it was just them running around that made me laugh so much. And so they've been on my For You page quite frequently, and whenever I see them, I find them so hilarious that I'll just start laughing, really giddy in laughter. But then, yeah. Another way, probably just my colleagues. I have such a safe working environment and strong relationships that I let my guard down a lot. And so I find everything funny. And being able to goof around a lot now is really nice. A couple years ago, especially after Mom had passed, I was very in a shell, and I did not laugh frequently. And now there's not a day that goes by that I don't cackle, because I'm just surrounded by so many people who love to laugh and play jokes and kid around. So yeah,
I hear that.
So I'm super excited to, see what Savage Tranquility, evolves to be in the future. I look forward to seeing the content you share as well in the next couple of months, especially as you work through your goals. And I've really appreciated this conversation. I
did too. It was great. I look forward to having you on my podcast. The conversation was great. You asked great questions, and I'm going to have to ask you some great questions too. I have to reach the bar.
I'll be ready. Oh, thank you. Yeah, so everyone, you can look up DeVaughn on Spotify. It's called the Savage Tranquility Podcast.
Yeah.
And I strongly encourage you giving him a listen. So.
I appreciate it. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good day.